Wow, Nintendo just has really been bringing it all out this year. This beginning half the year, there's a lot of people talking about, oh, what is Nintendo doing? What is Nintendo doing? I was kind of confused. It seems like people had like some high expectations for Nintendo. To just like just fucking pull out all the stops just because like Xbox and PlayStation were just like having their own feud that people were just like looking at Nintendo like, well, what are you gonna do, Nintendo? And Nintendo came back and they said, this is what we're gonna do. This is what we're gonna do around here. And now they're coming out with a new game, a surprise drop game. That's pretty fucking baller. That they could just be like, yo, what's up? You wanna know what's up? You wanna know what's up? Guess what? New game. Prequel. Breath of the Wild. Like, how are they gonna drop that on us? How are they gonna come out with an entire ass inclusion to this Breath of the Wild series being a prequel? This is pretty awesome. I am honestly not a huge Zelda fan. I would just say that I just got into the series earlier this year. Honestly, back in January, I started January 1st, Breath of the Wild. My friend got it for me for Christmas, and I was like honestly surprised. It's never a game I thought I would like play. It's never a game that like I sought out. But starting that Breath of the Wild adventure, being my first Zelda game, I was enthralled. I was all in it, dude. I was like, dude, Link is such an awesome character. He doesn't even like do anything, but he's just cool. He wields a bow. He has swords. He has a shield. He can call a horse, dude. He can call a horse, bro. And so I don't know. It just turned out to be like a really awesome gameplay with like the combat, the climbing, the exploration, the eating, the cooking, all of it. I was a fan. It's just like such a world you can get so lost in. And I stopped playing in January because I was just like, this game is too good to be played. Like, I had to like sit on it. It's one of those games where you just like stop playing because you don't want it to end. That's how much I loved Breath of the Wild. I told myself I'd pick it back up like probably November. I don't know why, but like it was in January. I was like, I'm gonna come back before the end of the year. I'm gonna come back to this one in like late November. And honestly, I really love the story. The whole lore of it. I like how Nintendo always switches things up with Link. It's never the same thing. People and fans try to connect the continuity, and I believe there could be continuity, but I think Nintendo is always just trying to like reinvent the character and try new things, which I think is really awesome. I wish they did more things like that with Mario. It'd be cool to see Mario just like be reinvented and matured for a whole new audience. I think a lot of people are expecting that of Odyssey, and I see a lot of people comparing Breath of the Wild with next to Odyssey, but Breath of the Wild is on a whole nother level, honestly. Odyssey is just another Mario game, but Breath of the Wild really like reimagined fantasy gameplay, honestly, especially for me, of a person that's not really into like fantasy elements or RPG elements or anything like that. I fell deep into this game. It's such a game you can really just like delve deep into the world. So for them to like just do a surprise a follow-up on this, like with a prequel, that's pretty awesome. I wouldn't have even imagined that they would do a prequel, and it's a completely different game style as well, which is really beyond me. It's a Hyrule Warriors game, so it's more like a war game. I'm not really familiar with the Warriors games at all, but I know they did Fire Emblem and the previous Hyrule game. But this Hyrule game is worked closely, so much close with the Breath of the Wild team that it is canon. This is the prequel to Breath of the Wild, which is awesome. They continue to reinvent themselves, just by like having a prequel that is a completely different gameplay structure, That's awesome. You know, they really breathe new life in this character each time, and I'm excited to see how this game plays out. I'm not personally a big fan of like the gameplay from what I hear, but you know, I think it's an awesome game. You know, awesome game for fans. You know, add to the story, because one of the coolest things was about Breath of the Wild is just like the atmosphere. It's so calm, but not necessarily like a good calm, a peaceful calm, but like a calm that's like a calm after the storm, after the destruction of this kingdom 100 years ago. So through these flashbacks and stories being retold, you constantly hear about the war that brought this kingdom to ruins, and through artifacts, memories, and dialogue, you just like learn more and more about what happened during this war. So to actually like give fans the opportunity to like live the war itself and like the calamity of it all, that's really awesome. You know, they didn't have to do that, but the fact that they are like really shows that they care about the character and their fans and just want to give good games out, honestly. And so I think this is like very, very overwhelmingly positive reaction, which I'm surprised. You know, I first saw like the title, I was like, Hyrule Warriors, that's pretty cool. You know, people seem to be real excited about that. I wasn't really I didn't really understand, but then I looked more into it and I was just like, this is a Breath of the Wild prequel. That's awesome. This makes Breath of the Wild like a trilogy. You know, they're definitely doing a sequel. They already teased that, hinted at that. But it makes me speculate, you know, what kind of new gameplay will they bring to Breath of the Wild 2? Will it be just like the exploration adventure that Breath of the Wild was? Or will it be this dungeon crawler, going back to the roots of the character? Because that's what it seems like. It seems to be like a dark game. I honestly haven't even finished Breath of the Wild, so I'm not sure where the story leaves off. But I know from the trailers it seems to be a more darker game in tone, with Zelda being present, which I think is awesome. You know, I hope she gets to be more present in the game and do have more agency. You know, I think Nintendo has done really well with just like a new image of their princesses. Well, Zelda specifically, especially in Breath of the Wild, not necessarily being like a damsel in distress, but just like a independent girl that's just like actually holding her own and holding down Calamity Ganon in the tower for 100 years, waiting for Link to help out, be the chosen one to help out. And her relationship with Link and Zelda's relationship is not necessarily like a romantic relationship, but more of like a platonic friendship, which I think is like really awesome. It's like pretty mature and just like deep. It's just different from the typical damsel in distress. You know, Mario's always saving Peach, but I don't even really think Peach wants to be saved by Mario anymore, to be honest. She's always over there with Bowser. How many times she gonna be over with Bowser? She's like, hey Bowser, you gonna come pick me up? And Mario's like, oh, Mamma Mia, Mamma Mia. You know, so I think it's really awesome. You know, this is a holiday title for the Nintendo holiday season, and I think Nintendo's like got a solid holiday season stacked up. They got Hyrule Warriors. They have Mario 3D Collection, which is a pretty stacked game in itself. I think it's like 3 games for the price of one Nintendo game. It's not bad. Not a bad deal at all. Not a great deal, but not too bad, considering Nintendo usually charges that for a single game. And also Pikmin 3. I've never played Pikmin 3. I never played Pikmin, but I played as Olimar in some Smash Bros. So that's about as far as I know about Pikmin. But it seems like Nintendo's got a solid first-party lineup of new and fresh games, or quote-unquote new and fresh, for the holiday season, which I think is pretty cool. You know, just think about like the young kids that get to like look in a catalog of seeing things that they want, circling things for Christmas, and and getting to anticipate cool games such as the ones Nintendo is providing. You know, I know a lot of kids today are probably more excited for like Xbox and PlayStations, but those Nintendo kid fans out there, they'll be rewarded. You know, they're gonna get their due. So I think it's pretty awesome. Nintendo's really stepping up and showing what they got going for the rest of the year. So good on them for keeping this one a secret, being like a complete surprise drop. You know, I think those are the best kind of drops, because you kind of like announce a game 2 years in advance and people just like speculate and think about what the greatest game they could imagine of, and they play the game and it's kind of like doesn't really live up to that expectation, just anticipating that whole game cycle for 2 years. So to be able to just like have like a shorter like hype cycle of just like having a game being like announced and then released like within like a month or two later, it's more satisfying, honestly, just like for them to like show and not tell as much. So this is exciting. I'm not going to be playing Hyrule Warriors, but I'll probably be watching Twitch streams about it just for like the lore and the story. You know, I love the story of Breath of the Wild and when it came in glimpses and flashes. So to see more of that in a probably more linear fashion, I think that's going to be pretty cool, and I'm excited to see that. Going to be catching some of that on Twitch. Yeah, Nintendo holiday season pretty stacked. What are you excited for Nintendo's list this upcoming holiday? Are you going to be picking up any of these games full price, or will you just be checking them out through Twitch or other means? Let me know where you stand on the hype down below. You know what it is. This has been Void Digital.